Yes, guys, welcome back to Chasing Green Arrows. It's Gameweek 30 and it's wildcard time. Wildcard time for Big Man, wildcard time for Dean. Welcome to all of you. Oh, I've had a crisp. I had a crisp. I had a crisp 2 minutes ago and it's just been caught there the whole time. I've got a glass of water, which I never have on standby. Dean, introduce the show for me, will you?
Oh, hello, everyone. It's good to be back, the three of us. I'm in England. G is in Italy. Big Man, where are you coming from today?
Well, I'm in Pakistan. I actually wildcarded 2 weeks ago. I had a rough idea of what team I was gonna pick, but ever since this Haaland injury is broken out, I actually had my birthday on the day when this news broke out, and yesterday was Eid for me. So I've had very little time to think about the wild card, and I actually want to discuss it with you guys and run you through my team through the show today, because I think I'll be needing your help more than the other way around.
I feel totally the same, actually. I mean, obviously, so I've flown this weekend. So I went to San Diego FC v LAFC on Saturday night, and then the next day flew back to England. And yeah, amidst all that, saw the Haaland injury and stuff. And I've done a wild card. Because apart from maybe one or maybe two, it seems like we're all doing similar wild card, which I don't love, but I've got the assistant manager to go straight into. So I can't be too different here. I can't be too clever with it.
It seems like the wildcard template is proper strong, and it's strong for a reason. There's like a very clear distinction on wildcard as to probably like 9-10 of them like very key players, and then the fringes might change for some. Like if you're Dean, you're going double Palace because you're saving a spot for Glasner. If you're Big Man, you're definitely going triple Palace. I've not seen his team, but he will have triple Palace in there because everyone does, and it's the right call to make. So yeah, let us know in the chat. We'll do a poll. Are you on wildcard, yes or no? I saw FPL tweeted earlier, almost 500,000 managers have activated the wildcard button. Big Man, you were an early adopter for this strategy. You've probably made a little bit of money, have you, in the last couple of weeks by buying players on wildcard that have gone up in price that others are now buying today?
Well, to be fair, the prices have been slow. I think more than the money, I think the gain that I made was actually getting Bruno in last week, and that was because I had intended a wildcard in Gameweek 30, which is why I made that transfer, and that has paid off handsomely. So even though I have to buy Salah back because of the Haaland injury, I still believe that I'm in a relatively decent position, having gained some of those points. But yeah, I mean, I'm not exactly finding this wildcard to be very straightforward. It is tricky, especially depending on the chip strategies that you have. A lot of these factors are interlinked. I don't think it's a very easy team to pick by any stretch of the imagination. Yes, there are a few players like Isak or Triple Palace that you're probably going to find in most drafts. But apart from that, I'm actually having quite a fun time having to decide between some of the fringe players that G was referring to.
Well, stay tuned, guys, because we've got Big Man's team and Dean's team coming up in the next 10 minutes. I'll also show my team, which isn't on a wild card, but I want you guys, in your opinion on my team. I've had a few say, like, why don't you just wildcard? It's clearly the best strategy. It doesn't matter how your team looks this week, do it. I disagree with that. I think if your team looks bad, you wildcard. If it looks okay, consider wildcarding. If it looks really good this week, don't do it just because everyone else is doing it. For Dean and Big Man, I think it's probably the right strategy. Guys, there's over 220 of you watching. Thank you all for your support. We don't usually do deadline day streams, and obviously the deadline's not for a fair few hours, but we want to go early. We would love you to support us. Please do hit that like and subscribe button. We would love you to join our journey on Chasing Green Arrows. We're going to be streaming all throughout the remainder of the season. Dean in San Diego mostly, Big Man in Pakistan, me in Italy for the next 3 months. Do not go anywhere. Dean, just talk us through the idea before we see your team on why wildcard worked for you and the benefits to it. Obviously, the doubles are there for 32 and probably 33.
Yeah, I mean, mainly it was for like as soon as Palace beat Fulham, it kind of had my mind made up, and I already had Haaland in my team, and once he wasn't playing, I just kind of had to. So it's fine. Like I don't mind it. It's just not as straightforward as it would have been. Like when I was looking at what my wild card would have been before this moment, obviously it had Haaland in it, and I was kind of looking at variations because of that. Now not having Haaland as selection, it's quite easy because I had Haaland. So now I've got these funds opened up. I'm not worried about having the money to get Glasner in and things like that. I can have the 2 Palace players knowing I can bring in Glasner as my 3rd Palace for the assistant managership. And yeah, it just kind of made sense. The one I'm not sure about is Arsenal as I'm looking at this right now.
Oh, go on. With the double in 33 likely. And it's a good-looking double in 33, isn't it?
It is, yeah, because at the moment, my team only has 1 Arsenal player in it. And it's not Gabriel. It was Gabriel, and Gabriel's gone. So I've got rid of Gabriel. Spoiler alert, I've got Gabriel out and put David Raya in, right? So that's where I've gone with it, just to cover the Arsenal back and save a bit of money. But obviously people are bringing in Saka and people are talking about the attacking intent of that team and stuff. I don't know, man. I don't know where I would go, like beyond the back line of Arsenal. I don't know who I genuinely trust. Obviously, Saka could be a really good option by 33. But now, at this moment when I'm wildcarding, I don't see him as a great option, knowing that he's going to play. What's he going to get? If he plays tonight, 20 minutes? I don't know. What do we expect him?
I mean, big man, what's your take on Arsenal? And I bet you've got triple Arsenal on wildcard. Double Arsenal defence at least, I reckon.
Yeah, double Arsenal defence at least. And I think I'm going to go for Saka if he's lead.
You got Gabriel and Raya,
but I'm not sure. I actually have Saliba over Raya at the minute. But I think I will probably go for Saka if he's league to start. But then again, I'm not entirely sure because, I mean, I still like the idea of having Palmer to begin with, along with Salah, and then swapping Palmer to Saka in Gameweek 33 if need be. Ideally, I want to see him play a few minutes. But because generally we tend to hear, the Arsenal team news, and because Saka's a high-profile player, I would expect this news to be significant. And because this game is relatively close to the FPL deadline, we might hear some team news. So that might change some plans. But unless we get a leak that he's starting, there's no way I'm going to pick him.
Dean, Saka for you? Someone you'll wait for a leak on, or?
No, I'm not picking him this week. I'm not picking him this week. Like,
I actually tweeted about half an hour ago saying reliable source tells me Saka starts. I do know people. I do know a few people that get like from Arsenal fan TV and stuff like that. So look, reliable source maybe not, but from my contact suggests he'll start. I'm just going to leave it there. But I'm no ITK.
I hope this is not an April Fool's joke.
Yeah.
No comment.
If it goes wrong, you'll just say it was an April Fool's.
I mean, I just would see that as an unnecessary gamble on Arsenal's behalf to start Saka tonight.
It's so Arteta though, isn't it? But he'll get 60 maybe. I guess he wants him up and running for Real Madrid, regardless of whether he starts tonight though. I don't know if I'd want Saka right now off the back of such a long-term injury, knowing his minutes are going to be managed moving forward. And Real Madrid is a massive distraction.
Yeah, I mean that's
the
thing.
Other week, Dean, like you made a comment on Real Madrid and how that will be a big focus.
Well, everything in his comeback I know is geared towards that game.
Yeah.
So I just don't see. I think it's more beneficial to get Saka his first minutes off the bench against Fulham, looking to make that impact as well, whichever way round this result is. Like, it doesn't matter whether Arsenal are suffering a shock 1-0 deficit with half an hour to go, or if they're in a 1-goal, 2-goal lead against Fulham. Both those times are good times to bring on Saka to make his return. He's either like playing for confidence or playing to get them back into the game, which will give him confidence. And I just think that is a much better use of him rather than a Fulham team that are probably going to sit in here and play on the counter and rattle Saka for 60 minutes and then he gets subbed. Like, famous last words, like I'm Fulham fan, he's probably now going to score in the 5th minute with a penalty. But that's how I would see it, as a more obvious view on the situation.
What do you think to FPL Discomfort's minute suggestion here, big man? Kieran in the chat, Arsenal fan. Again, got connections within the club, I might add, Kieran. He had his haircut famously cut by Saka only a year ago. He had a ponytail and Saka gave him a short back and side. So FPL Discomfort, channel member, let's put his comment up. 30 versus Fulham, he reckons. 60 versus Everton. 90 versus Real Madrid. 30 versus Brentford. 90 versus Real Madrid. We'll put Kieran's comment up on screen when we can. And we have got a poll going. Guys, you're all on Wildcard. You're all on Wildcard. This is obscene. Like 70% of you have hit that button. and I expect there'll be still a few that might be persuaded. Like, that is absolutely huge. The template was very much set at 30 or 31 wildcard anyway. But I think the way the FA Cup round fell, with Forest beating Brighton, it meant that the 34 double is likely to be, or blank is likely to be smaller than we think, or bigger than we think, fewer blank fixtures. That I get it. Dean, what do you make of these minutes? So I think Kieran's perhaps being a bit too cautious. I think he gets more, but I don't think he gets 5 starts in the next 5, you know?
Yeah, I mean, the most important thing from an Arsenal perspective is those 2 90 minutes against Real Madrid. Like, they are the 2 most important games in the season. So that, I mean, then again, like 90 minutes against Real Madrid, like it probably won't be. He'll probably play like 80 minutes, right? Because
It'll be 120.
Yeah, but there or thereabouts, like it's fair to assume that like he's going to play the majority of the game against Real Madrid both times, because that's where their season hinges right now. So yeah, perhaps a bit cautious on the 60 v Everton. Maybe they would give him a start before we get to Real Madrid. But as I say, like it would seem to me to be a gamble in a sense of starting him tonight. Jem says, Arteta has said Saka's been back in full training for a week and played a behind the closed doors friendly. Is that where your info comes from, G?
Yeah, something like that. Guys, we've got some assets to show you. We're just going to rattle through a couple of them.
I just want to add something on Saka. Yeah, I just wanted to add something on Saka. I think it's actually important to plan for him, because initially, you know, when I was considering the wild card and planning around it, I was thinking of going with triple Arsenal defense. But then, you know, when you look at the fixtures in Gameweek 33, especially with no Haaland, and now that we have this news that he's out for 5 to 7 weeks, I think Saka could be a potential captaincy shout in Gameweek 33. Arsenal will play Ipswich and Crystal Palace in that week, and if Saka has sort of proven his fitness by then I think it's a bit risky if we don't plan for him in our teams. Even if we don't begin with him, I think we need to have like a plan B to get to him, which is why I'm not exactly a huge fan of triple Arsenal defense to begin with. And whatever structure or team I'm putting together, I sort of have this rough plan in mind to get him in. And I think the best way of doing it is to pick Palmer, because it's Chelsea's fixtures in the next 3 weeks. Spurs, Brentford, and Ipswich. I think those fixtures do scream goals. And yes, he hasn't been in the best of forms, but I think that that easy swap that he allows to Saka is potentially worth it.
Yeah, it's a great point, Big Man. Let's just focus on that. By the way, if I was on Wildcard, I wouldn't be picking Saka either. I think Big Man makes a great point that that double in 33, he'll be a very popular captaincy choice.
Yeah, exactly. Like even if it broke right now, Saka starts against Fulham tonight, I wouldn't be bringing him in. I wouldn't. That's just not going to push the needle for me enough in his favour to be counting on a good enough return over that period or enough minutes. Like it's just not enough. It's just not convincing enough. But as I say, I know I'll be eating my words on this because I'm a Fulham fan. So he's gonna.
Well, I want to come ask you about Fulham Arsenal, but let's just move on to Palmer because Big Man mentioned it. But then let's also touch on the chances of Arsenal keeping it clean. Like if Dean thinks Fulham will score, but Big Man, to you on Palmer, he's a lock on your wildcard, is he? Because I reckon if we do a poll, is Palmer in your wildcard team, or is Palmer going to be in your Gameweek 30 team? Yes or no? We will get a lower percentage on Palmer than we did on Saka. Saka is about 50-50. 50% of people watching, and there's over 500 of you, are going to own Saka tonight. That's blown my mind a little bit. I didn't quite realise he was going to be such a popular bandwagon. Let's do the same poll. Will Palmer be in your Gameweek 30 team, whether you're on wildcard or not? Yes or no? Big Man, he's going to be in yours. He's going to be in mine. Talk to me about Palmer, because you're very much a fixtures manager, but the fixtures are there, right? The form certainly is.
Exactly that. I mean, I'm all for the fixtures, and because of the swap that he allows, I mean, I doubt that I move away from a structure that has Palmer and Salah in it, especially now that we have. I mean, funds exactly aren't an issue with Haaland out, so having a team with Palmer and Salah is pretty much affordable. It's basically what we've been doing in the previous few weeks as well, and it's basically a very similar structure to that with Isak in as well. And because the likes of, let's say, Mateta and Sarr, especially Henderson. Newcastle defense, even the Villa players, someone like a Rodgers or Konsa, all these guys are so cheap. Yao Pedro, Evan Nelson, that you can actually have a team very easily with Isak, Salah, and Palmer. So I see very little reason not to go there.
Guys, get voting in the poll. Don't even worry if you're not on Wildcard. Still vote. Will he be in your Gameweek 30 team? Yes or no? It looks like more own Saka than Palmer, Dean.
Yeah, well, Palmer's rubbish, isn't he? We've just been watching him for the last 4 weeks. A failed score. I just can't bring myself to go back to Palmer after what he's done to me in this game. But I've got Bruno Fernandez in my team as it stands right now.
Wow.
And I didn't expect to be there. I did not expect.
You've got Bruno and big man doesn't.
I know. I really am surprised about that because I thought because obviously, like right now in our mini league, big man's ahead of me, and I was like, "There's a chance because I've got the assistant managership. There's a chance I can catch big man over the next few weeks if this all goes well."
It's like 30 points, isn't it?
Yeah, there's not much there. So I was like, all I've got to do if I could match big man and then beat him in the assistant managership, I can go neck and neck with him. Like that's a good season for me. Even if he beats me at the end, this is good for me. But now I'm like scared because he's got Palmer and I've got Bruno. This is the wrong way around.
And I'm going Palmer, and I'm only 3 points behind you. So Palmer, you're between a Palmer sandwich here.
Oh no, and I'm not going back on this. I can afford to still get to Palmer. I can't bring myself to do it.
Is it Chelsea? Is that the problem? Not your hatred for Chelsea, but just Chelsea's lack of confidence in that attack. Because terrible. Jackson, Madueke, and Palmer, the three of them could start on Thursday night. That's a very different looking attack to what we've seen the last few months. Jackson back is massive for Cole Palmer, guys.
Yeah, no, that is true. That is definitely true. But judging him on, I'm very, very surprised that Palmer's form dropped off like this. I never saw this coming. I thought he was just a player that wouldn't be affected mentally when he didn't have good games. And I don't think that's been the case. I think he has been affected. And I think even when he's like the need to come out on social media to say, I'll make up for it. I think he's feeling that. And of course he could return now after the break and come out with the top performance. But I'm back in the form here and I'm going with Bruno Fernandez. Like, not an easy fixture by any stretch of the imagination, but if Man United are going to score a goal, I think there's a fairly good chance it's Bruno Fernandez. So, yeah, look, now it feels like a much bigger call than I thought it was when I picked my team because I thought at least big man would have him. But, yeah, we'll see. Do or die.
There are a lot of my favorites, people who have won over the rest of the season. I mean, I have had Bruno for ages. I've had Mbeumo for a while. And I think I'm going to get rid of both of them. Ez is going to come back in, actually, because of the way...
Oh, is he? I wondered if you were going Salah or Eze. Talk to me about that.
I'm going both, actually. Both of them are nailed in my team. I don't actually have Mateta in my team currently. I actually don't have
get
Mateta
his
in my
team up. Get his team up. I need to see this.
Team.
Like, there's too many surprises here.
No Mateta. Wow. For me, on Wildcard, Mateta would be an absolute lot. Guys, there's 600 of you watching, by the way. We would love you to support the channel. We never have 600 watching, so excuse the begginess. But if you fancy hitting that subscribe, Chasing Green Arrows relies on you to be hitting those buttons. So please subscribe to the channel. That really means a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, so this was before the Saka news came out that he's fit and available.
What, that I tweeted saying he starts? Is that the Saka news?
Well, you can claim to be the messenger. You can claim to be the messenger. But anyway, I mean, because of that news, I now want to have Palmer in my team so that I can then sell Palmer for Saka when needed. And because I want to afford Palmer, I have to sort of make funds for him. And Mateta, selling Mateta for someone like a João Pedro or Evan Nelson gives me 2 million. And then I can just upgrade, let's say, someone like a Clivert to Palmer, also by downgrading Raya to Henderson. So that's basically what I've done. I haven't really changed too much from this draft. Raya has gone for Henderson. Clivert has gone for Palmer. Mateta has gone for João Pedro, essentially. That's more or less it.
Tell you what, we talk about your favourites, Bruno, Eze, and Mbeumo. João Pedro has to be in that category, doesn't he? So João Pedro is back.
João Pedro and Evan Nelson is actually a very close call, and it can change. But the news on Rutter is making me go João Pedro. I think I will go João Pedro.
Just remind us, what is the news on Rutter? I don't know it.
He's out for the season.
Whoa, is he?
Yeah. So if he's out for the season, that just increases João Pedro's minutes significantly. And if he's playing in the team, then you know how much I like him, which is why I think I prefer him to Evan Nilsson. I had Evan Nilsson earlier, but then it was because Bournemouth likely to have a double in 36 if City make it to the final. But I was like, I'll just take the immediate points on offer potentially and just roll with João Pedro, Marush and Isak. Marush and Isak are obviously locked. But yeah, Mateta, he's been in and out of my teams, and ever since I've sort of made the swap for Palmer, I just find it really hard to fit him in, unless I significantly compromise on my defense, which I don't want to.
I tell you what, I'm playing you in sleeper draft this week, big man, and I sold Danny Welbeck the other day because of Rutter and João Pedro being like the first choice front two, and I could see Welbeck spending a lot of time on the bench. I'm about to bring him back for Rutter, who is actually in my team, so. Thank you for that breaking bit of team news. Well, not breaking for me breaking.
Yeah, well, same for me with this Kluivert. People also talking about Kluivert being out now.
Oh yeah, doubtful. He's doubtful, but still,
he's a doubt.
Yeah, people growing on the side of like doubt to out rather than doubt to in. So it's like doubt out.
Well, on Wildcard, you can be cautious on Wildcard. There's no need to risk it. Like if you've got
this is the thing, exactly.
Don't risk it. If he's in your actual team and you're not on Wildcard, you risk it, don't you?
That's the thing. Obviously, like I'm trying to set my team up here for the assistant managership. But do I just go Kluivert to Semenyo?
Yeah.
Would you do that if you're setting up a team for that, like for a 3-4 week period? Like, should I just do that, or would you still stick with Kluivert?
I think I'd probably just go with Rodgers or Murphy, honestly. I don't think I'd pick a Bournemouth mid. Because the risk with Semenyo is that he's on 9 yellows. If he gets a single yellow in any of the next 3 fixtures, he's going to get a 2-game suspension. And I don't think Semenyo has been in great form anyway to warrant taking that risk. So, yeah, I don't think I'd pick Semenyo, personally.
So, Rodgers is a great pick. I've said all season Rodgers is the best budget mid. And we've only got an hour today, so we can't touch on every topic. So we'll blitz through them. But on budget mids, like... Big Man's just given his two. I think Sar's great if you have the Palace slot available. But Rodgers, who Big Man's got in this team, we've got 3.5 budget midfielders here. Sar, Rodgers, Kluivert, and Eze in the team we're looking at now. But Big Man, you're going in with definitely 2, like Sar and Rodgers, and they're both like Rodgers is a phenomenal pick. Villa got the double in 33.
I think I'll go with one of Rodgers or Murphy, depending on what I do with the defense. For example, Burn could be Konsa, Rodgers could be Murphy. It's basically a combination of which Newcastle defender or Villa attacker I pick.
Yeah, okay.
But let's say I'm roughly settled on the structure. It's just the fringes that I'm sort of debating on.
So just
someone like a Gabriel Guardiola.
Team we're currently looking at. You're thinking Mateta out for João Pedro, Kluivert out for Palmer, and Raya out for Henderson. You got enough money to do that?
Yeah, so I think I'll be doing something along those lines. And Rodgers and Burn I might swap around as well.
Mate, the one lock for me would be Munoz. I know, and Mateta. Like, Dean, talk to us about Palace in general. So, you've seen Palace play Fulham a lot recently and beat it twice. Who are your top 3 Palace picks, Dean?
Well, yeah, Munoz, because there's such a good defence. Like, people are like playing him down as a pick. I saw in the chat at the start when we opened this up today, people are doubting Palace as a pick. And I saw I think Sean said straight away, Dean, don't pick Munoz this week. Thinking, why? He's like...
He is the best performing defender in the game from like the last 15 game weeks, 10 game weeks.
And I don't know why, like looking at what they've got coming up, I don't know why I would not back that to continue. Still Mateta I probably have as my 1, but I think Munoz would be 2, and then probably Eze for me. But yeah, I mean, I was even weighing up Mark Gahey at one point when I was doing my wild card because like it was a good value pick, but I steered away from it in the end. But I'm a big fan of Palace at the moment, despite the fact they've just knocked my team out of the FA Cup. I really rate them. I really rate them at the moment.
Hard not to like Palace. Big Man, you're still likely to go in with triple Palace, right?
Yeah.
You've still got Eze, Sarr, and then Henderson.
Yeah, I could go Munoz. I just want to make a point about Munoz is that when you look at some of the Palace fixtures, yes, they're a good defense, but when you look at some of their fixtures, uh, I don't see too many clean sheets after this week. They have Brighton at home, City away, Newcastle away, Bournemouth at home.
Mate, you don't pick
So
Manoz
each
for
of
clean
the
sheets. He gets goals.
I was gonna come. I was gonna come to that. I was gonna come to that. But when you compare him with, let's say, someone like a Saliba, because that's the opportunity cost that you're paying by not picking, someone like a Munoz. Arsenal have a better stretch of fixtures, so you'd expect Arsenal to keep more clean sheets. Another thing with picking Henderson over Munoz, even though in isolation Munoz is obviously a good better pick than Henderson. But if you look at the combination, so for example, if I go with Henderson and Martinez, I get a guaranteed doubler in 32, I get a guaranteed doubler in 33, in 36, and I also get a guaranteed fixture in 37. So I think that structure allows me an extra doubler. While if I pick Munoz, I'll most probably have to sell him in 37 when Palace are likely to blank. So overall, when you look at it from a structural point of view, I just think going for the goalkeeper makes a bit more sense because it saves some transfer later. But if Munoz scores a few goals and smashes it, then of course picking him is better. So it is tricky. I haven't completely ruled it out, but yeah, I think I'm sort of warming to the idea of picking one of Henderson or Munoz as compared to Mateta simply because of the structure I have.
Yeah,
I hear what you say about the structure you have, but on Wildcard you get to determine your structure. So it's a structure you have that you're consciously making. I get it when we talk about structure for my team or Dean or whoever's team. When you're not on Wildcard, structure is a massive topical thing, and what's right for your team always should matter. On Wildcard, you can rip it up and start again as many times as you want. So for me, you just pick. You make a core, right? You make your core 6, 8, 9 players where you go, they're definitely in my Wildcard, and then I do the fringes. And if I'm doing that, Munoz is in that core of 8 players probably for me. It'd be a non-negotiable. I mean, let's rank our 3 Palace assets. I'll go first, Dean. I'll come to you next. I'm gonna go Munoz 1, Mateta 2, Sarr 3 because money always matters. Eze's better than Sarr, but just for the saving, I'll go Sarr.
Yeah, I mean, mine was the same. I was just with Eze at number 3, just because he's like, lightning. Yeah.
And big man.
I think I'd go Sarr as my first because of what he allows, and because he's so much better than some of the other midfielders at his price. I'd probably go Eze as my second, and then for the third, I don't exactly have a strong opinion. I think picking either is fine.
Yeah. Okay. Nice, big man. I like your team. Like I get it, and I think Arsenal defense. For those that don't have them, like me, and we'll talk about my team in a minute, I might be taking a hit to get one in. For those that can go double or even triple, could be on for an absolute winner. They're going to come good. Of course they are. You're going to see a lot of 1-0 Arsenal wins for the run-in.
Yeah, maybe. Listen to this hot take. This is a hot take from Sean, who is desperately trying to convince me not to pick Munoz in the comments. No. He says Connor Bradley will get more points than Munoz until the end of the season. I mean... I love the fact you're putting it on the line, but it might be a bit too far, that one.
I tell you what, I've just put Bradley in my sleeper team, so I reckon he will be good. But yeah, I don't expect him to.
But it's not. I don't mind it as a shout. I mean, it's Liverpool probably being overlooked a little bit at the moment in terms of like what they're going to do from here until the end of the season. They've become. I don't know, like people kind of sleeping on Liverpool at the moment in terms of like the fixtures that they've got coming up. Like, you look at the next 3, like that could be like 3 batterings.
Yeah, definitely. Like, that hurt. That probably hurting a bit. Champions League exit, guys. Let's okay. We're going to go to Dean's team in a minute. Let's talk about some midfielders because on Wildcard and for transfers, it seems a lot of split on Man City's team. So we'll come out of Big Man's team and just go on to us 3. And Big Man, I want your takes on Man City attackers, not named Omar Marmoush. But let's talk about Foden, Savinho, and Marmoush, and obviously captaincy in this section as well. So let's focus on Man City in general. A few on Wildcard, Big Man, are looking at Phil Foden. I don't even know if I was on Wildcard if I'd be picking Phil Foden, but I do fancy him against Leicester. I just think long-term he's going to cause you a headache. Haaland out long-term, 6-7 weeks, we know. Doesn't mean Foden gets in the team. It means Marmoush number 9, but it could mean way more De Bruyne starts. What's your take there, big man? Because I'm seeing a lot of content creators giving Foden a lot of love.
I really want a third City, apart from Guardiola and Marmoush, I just can't make out who the best one is. Because I think when I reach Game Week 33, I think I'll have a more informed opinion on who the best third city is. And I think I'm probably happy to wait till then, even though it means booking in a transfer. But yeah, I mean, if someone wants to start with Foden or even Savinho for that matter, I think they're good punts for the reasons that you show on screen. I mean, you look at City, they're projected to score 3 goals this week. And then they have a double in 33, very likely. And then if they reach the final, then they're probably going to have a double again in 36. So, I mean, there's clear logic to the selection. And if you're chasing rank, then I don't mind the Foden or the Savinho pick at all.
Dean?
The Savinho pick, man.
That is risky.
So risky.
Oscar Bob could even be back getting some minutes soon.
But Oscar Bob in ahead of Savinho. He just Dylan Hudson just literally just took the words out of my mouth. Doesn't score goals. Obviously, at some point he's gonna, right? This can't continue.
What's he got this season? 1, 2 in the league. I don't know.
I can only remember 1. Yeah, I think so. Correct us in the comments by all means.
No cheating in the chat. Put a number in the chat. How many you think he's got in the league, and we'll tell the answer in a minute.
Is it even 1? I don't even know. I can remember 1 in the league. I don't know. Anyway,
not sure.
What?
I can't remember 1. Surely he scored.
It's not a good look anyway for a Man City attacker. I know that much. And it's certainly not enough for me to go picking him. So Savinho is off the table for me.
Oh, he has got 1. He's got 1 and 10 assists. Fair. 10 assists is good. But yeah. Okay. So, big man, you say you'd like Triple City, but realistically, Gvardiol and Marmoush are locked in your team. Are you the likelihood of you picking a third Man City player now pretty slim, right?
I would suspect so. Yes.
Yeah. Let's talk.
Unfortunately, I really want to pick 3.
Yeah, it's such a good entry point, which is why so many attempted. I get it, but I genuinely don't even know if I'd be on the third. Cool. We'll come away from the points projections. That's a Rob T graphic, which is awesome to see, by the way. City most likely to score the most amount of goals, 3, and Arsenal top for clean sheets, as you'd expect.
Is it true? Sorry, mate. FPL Amateurs just said O'Reilly not on the game. Is that true? Is Nico O'Reilly not?
No, he is. He must be. He'll be on the page 2. Sometimes you get stung by that when there's a second page. If there's a lot of defenders, for example, in that Man City
I'm going to say, I've seen some very obscure players lifted in this game before. When
he's a midfielder. That's why he's 4.9 midfielder.
4.9 midfielders. It's not even that cheap, really.
Yeah. You'd want him at 4.5, wouldn't you?
I was going to say. I just thought he'd be 4.4 or 4.5.
Pepper's told us he's going to start the semi-final as well, which is interesting. Unlike Pep to do that, so who knows? Guys, let's talk captaincy, and we'll do a poll. Who are you captaining this game week? We're going to give Marmoush, Salah. I'm going to just chuck Mateta and Isak in there as well. Get voting. There's 900 of you watching, guys. I think we're only on just over 100 likes. I'd love it if even half of you hit that like button.
That'd be handy.
If 2% of you hit the subscribe button. So please do hit the subscribe and like buttons, guys. And thank you. We're reading all your comments. We're loving the input in the chat. If you're new around here, we do pick up on all your comments. So add to the conversation, get chatting in the chat, speak to the other chasers. Our admins are in there as well. Our channel members are there. We'll always bring up some of the funny or popular comments as well.
Yeah, we'll do some good questions today too. Like Declan said, who should I start? Rico Lewis or Marcus Rashford? That is as random a question as I've heard all day. So, what would you say on that one, big man?
I own Rico Lewis, and I do not expect.
I'm actually surprised. I'm actually surprised at the question because generally, in normal game weeks, we tend to hear this X or Y question: who should I start? Who should I not start? I mean, we're at the point where selecting 15 on the wildcard is actually so tricky. I actually haven't given even more than half a second on my captaincy, let alone on my benching headaches. So, I mean, people who have these team selection dilemma should feel blessed that they are in this very comfortable position.
Yeah, I mean, the last show I did with you on here, you had that great graphic where you were talking about the no Salah captaincy for possibly for the rest of the season, really. But certainly for the next 6 weeks, whatever it was that we showed on the screen. Now, obviously, there's no Haaland in the equation. And so, if you were to draw up that same graphic now, how many times would Salah feature?
So I asked my designer to change it, and I didn't have the heart to bring it to air because I was like, I've replaced Haaland with Marmoush, and I don't know how reliable I can say I'll captain Marmoush in 36 or 30, whatever. Like, he ain't Haaland, and we have to remember that. For this game week, for 31, I think Marmoush is still the best option, and that's who I'm captaining. But the spoiler alert is, from that graphic, was you need Isak. If you don't have Isak, get him in. You're going to be captain Isak at least 3 of the next 6 weeks, I think. He's got single game weeks against Ipswich and Leicester. He's got a double game week, which is 2 home games. That's in the next four weeks, I think. So get Isak in your team. But, I mean, this week, a Marmoush, how are we all feeling? Go on, big man.
Yeah, I want to stop you over there, because for people who are not wildcarding, if someone has Haaland, and a lot of people sold Isak last week to get Haaland in, do you get Marmoush or do you get Isak? I think I would get Marmoush. I think at this point in time, simply because of how good the Leicester fixture is, I see more potential in Marmoush than Isak, at least for this week. And I just think Marmoush is a lock in our teams for the times to come. Isak will probably want out of our teams by game week 33 at best, because once that game week 32 fixture is out of the way, then I guess that you can just swap him to someone like a Watkins in 33, but Marmoush is going to be there till 35, 36 at the earliest. So I think I'd probably go Marmoush if prioritizing one.
Is Marmoush on pens?
Probably.
I would expect him to be.
Would you? Yeah. It's a tough one with City.
Yeah, it is a tough one with City. It's not like Mahrez. I mean, Mahrez was rubbish anyway. De Bruyne was rubbish. Like, they're both not good penalty takers. But yeah, I think he probably will be on pens. And Big Man makes a good point there. Like, Isak to 33 is great. I was asked on that question on a comment yesterday. I said, Isak, if you're looking for the next 3-4 weeks, but if you're looking for the entry point and a 1 week punt, obviously Marmoush is way better. I still think over 4, I prefer Isak, but Marmoush is fantastic.
Plays Ipswich in 34.
Yeah, no, I don't know when he's got Ipswich and Leicester in the next couple of weeks, Isak, and a double game week.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe this hasn't updated. Go on, Karen.
I think. Where are we at with Marmoush and captaincy then? I'm doing it. Guys in the chat, at the moment, you've been voting. Thank you. Get your votes in. Looks like the vast majority are going Salah still. And look, I can't tell you that's a bad decision. But Big Man, where are you at?
I think I'm going to go Salah on the wildcard. But yeah, I mean, Marmoush and I mean, I think Marmoush and even Palmer are borderline close. I don't mind going for either of them if you're looking for a differential. But I do think that with Haaland's absence, I do feel that Salah's quite clear this week. And I don't think this is the week where you should go different to the field. I just think that, there's significant damage that Salah can do to your rank if you sort of go against him. But GT owns Salah. I've sort of forgotten. We've potting out for so long that I have forgotten this. So if you're picking Marmoush, despite having Salah in your team, that's quite a brave call.
Yeah, exactly.
I weren't sure if it was brave or if it was obvious. I feel like it's obvious to go Marmoush. I don't feel like I'm taking a brave, risky punt against the field. Like, obviously, I knew Salah's going to be super popular, but Salah's got a tough fixture there. Like, Salah, that I know it's at Anfield, but that Merseyside derby, I could be tight. And Liverpool, not been the best recent. I just fancy Marmoush for the ceiling. Dean, where are you at?
Well, take away the derby, and you've got the team that's the runaway Premier League leaders against the team 15th in the league.
Fair play.
And that you do have to look at it like yes, there could be emotion, and Everton might play better than they otherwise might, and all of that kind of thing. Of course, that could all be something that plays into the narrative. It could just be that Liverpool beat Everton 3-0.
Yeah.
And this is a well-rested team. This is a team that has to bounce back from their last couple of results, which are crushing results. 2 pivotal games in their season, and they've come out of 2 cup competitions, and now they've got a derby to kind of get the fans back on track, to remind everyone why they are. Well, how many points are they clear? 12 at the top of the table right now. And Mo Salah has a point to prove too still. Like, he's still having to prove to people that he is who he says he is, that he is on course to compete for the Ballon d'Or, that he is the Premier League player of the season so far. So I still think that Mo Salah is the outstanding candidate this week to be your captain.
So, Big Man, are you locked on yours? And Dean, are you locked on your... Like, you both locked on Salah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I am.
Yeah.
Punter says simple and straight thinking by Dean. I get it. Like, it's fair.
I just don't overthink it. Yeah, exactly.
I'm
like
Dr. Marmoush, I think.
And
Guys,
I don't
give us your reasoning for Marmoush in the chat, guys. For those going Marmoush, give us it in a sentence. We'll flash a few up.
Yeah, it's interesting that we've got a debate on that. I mean, when it was Haaland, like I was going to go Haaland, like no denying that.
Well, yeah. See, that's why I think Marmoush. I know he's not Haaland, but he is playing number 9 against Leicester and on pens. Like, I don't think there's much in that. If Haaland was a banker captain, I think Marmoush should still be close to.
Yeah, I mean, we do have to remember, mate, that like Man City aren't like that good. Like I know that like it's Leicester.
Though,
I understand it's Leicester. So I'm not saying they won't win this game, but in the past, you'd have been looking at this as like a 6 or 7-0 Man City win, and really we should still be, look at the City squad, and I think we should still be thinking that this team is capable of winning this game 6 or 7-0. But realistically, I'm probably I was going to say I'm capping it at 3. I'll probably cap it at 4 for Man City, but I'm not expecting them to score 4. I don't expect this Man City team to score 4 anymore.
Where do we cap Liverpool? 2 or 3, right?
3, but if they score 3, Salah gets 2 of them.
Yeah. It's the share with Liverpool, which is the worry. With going against Salah. Dean, we're going to come to big man on Marmoush, but before we do, I just want to ask you quickly on Frankfurt and Marmoush. Does Marmoush, because no one watched Marmoush at Frankfurt, maybe 20 people in the chat and guys in the chat that did let us know. But Dean, Marmoush, we've seen him play on the left. We've seen him play second striker. For Egypt, he played on the left in the international break. Second striker to Haaland last time out. He was brilliant in Gameweek 29. Probably looks like his best position. Will he see this as an audition? Like, I'm finally getting to play the number 9. I want to be number. I'm not suggesting he thinks he's going to come in and take Haaland's spot. But is that where he likes to play? Because he's had a lot of minutes playing number 9. And at Frankfurt, we sometimes saw him as that number 9.
Yeah, I mean, here's where he wants to be. Like, he's trying to kind of prove himself as a predominantly centre-forward style player. But he's joined Man City knowing that he was going in to be a Julian Alvarez figure, not to compete with Erling Haaland. And I think as a Julian Alvarez type figure, like if he'd have been there since the start of the season, then Man City wouldn't be where they are in the league right now. They made a big mistake by letting Alvarez go and then not bringing in someone to replace him immediately. But as a number 9 at Frankfurt, like he had a good record. Like he was very good, and he is a good finisher. So I do have faith in him in that respect. It's just like what chances and who is going to be playing around him to open up the opportunities, especially if Leicester just think, right, let's just shut up shop. Let's just try to get out of here without a humiliation, which I imagine they'll do. So it's tough. I don't think Marmoush is a bad call here. I don't want to be saying that because I think he's perfectly capable of scoring 2 goals against Leicester, the same as I'm expecting Salah to get 2 returns against Everton. But as I say, like Salah is the best player in the whole game, and in a week where you're spending that much money on him against a team that's 15th in the league, I think he's just the obvious pick. Ryan, thank you so much, mate.
I think, Dean, you raised an excellent point at the end there. In a week, we're spending so much money on him because if you take this week out of the equation for Salah captaincy, in the next 6 weeks, I think Gameweek 34 is the only other week where you look at Salah as a captaincy option, and even in 34, there will be teams that are free hitting. So, if you're not captaining Salah this week, then it automatically lessens the appeal of owning him in the first place. So I think one of the reasons why I want him in my team this week is because I want to captain him against Everton.
Yeah,
fair point. Yeah, fair point. No, I hear that, and I don't think Salah will be a captain much. You're right. And yeah, interesting. Alvarez has gone to Atletico Madrid to be the number 9, which is where he wasn't at City, but happy doing it like Marmoush is. I fancy Marmoush to like his audition against Leicester and go big.
It's a nice time to get it, isn't it? Like what a time
to get it.
What a time to get the opportunity. Yeah,
off the back of a goal in the FA Cup when you come on for that player as the number 9 as well. Like when I saw him score, and it really well taken goal in the FA Cup.
Yeah.
Dean, we haven't seen your wild card.
No. While it goes onto screen, let's just quickly, a few people have asked for the best Kluivert replacement. So if you two were to pick a Kluivert replacement...
Eze Sarr, easy.
Eze Sarr for me. Yeah, go Palace. Or if you have a spare Newcastle spot, I don't mind Murphy at all.
Yep. There you go, guys.
And
That
Rodgers is great. By the way,
Yeah.
Enzo, I'm quite happy to own this week. Just throwing that out there too.
You
I
still
think
got
Enzo's not
Enzo.
bad.
Blimey, you've had him for a while.
I've got Enzo and Rico Lewis, mate. That stinks of a team that's not seen a wild card since game week 6 or whenever it was.
Gee, that looks like a Game Week 7 or Game Week 8 team, I was going to say.
Yeah, I mean, what is Rico Lewis doing there? Anyway, this is a team that does look good in Dean's. Dean, I guess Kluivert will go. I don't mind the Bruno pick. The fixtures are rubbish, but Bruno is just playing so well at the minute. And
It's
don't
a
worry
tough
about
one.
Rodgers' 8 yellows, guys. It's only till game week 32 and he needs 10. When he gets to Semenyo levels of 9 yellows, that's when we can worry. 8 yellows is fine for Dan Burn. It's fine for Rodgers.
Yeah, ignore on this the graphic, by the way, set captain. That was just what it was set to when I sent it in my team. It will be Salah with the armband. And Munoz will start this game. Would you start him for the Burn or Aina? I haven't even thought of that yet. I need to.
We're going to see a lot of good benches for you and Big Man and everyone on Wildcard.
There's some tough calls, and there'll be some real wrong calls here as well. Like, the moment that Southampton go 1-0 up against Crystal Palace is going to cause absolute meltdown. I saw someone tweet that, and I was like, that absolutely is going to happen, isn't it? Southampton are going to go 1-0 up. But look, Bruno, as soon as like that Haaland decision was made, like, I just thought, you know what, I'm going to stick with Bruno. Like, he was already in my team. It's not ideal fixtures, but they're kind of Bruno fixtures to come up with goals. So I don't really see an obvious solution as to not have him. I kind of wish I had an Eze or Sarr, but I said before, I'm leaving a spot open for when I get to the assistant manager chip next week. China says, does Dean have bench boost? I don't have bench boost. I've got Wildcard, which I'm using this week. I'm using the assistant manager chip after that, and I've still got a free hit to use before the end of the season. So that's where I'm at. And yeah, Kluivert, I have to see. Like, I could probably just leave him on the bench and bring Rodgers in for this one, so it's fine.
Yeah, Big Man, a couple of players that haven't got the fixtures, which is why you haven't looked at them, but they're brilliant players that you love and will surely get big points for the run-in. Bruno Fernandez, Brighton and Bournemouth. They are two FPL favourites of yours.
Royalty.
Royalty,
I would say.
Are you close to either of them, or is it just you can't because of the fixtures?
I can go with Mbeumo because he's slightly cheaper than Bruno. But yeah. I doubt I will, because if we were sort of reaching that stage of the season where you want to attack some of the doubles that are left because there's not much time left in the season, and the best way to sort of go about it is to just attack the doubles. And Mbeumo is someone I am still sort of considering for my team. I don't think I will pick him, but Bruno's someone I haven't even considered because I look at the fixtures; they aren't great. The price isn't great. The doubles aren't there, so I don't see myself picking Bruno at all personally. The thing with Mbeumo is that he still does have a relatively better price outside of the double. He does offer something. So when you look at the fixtures from 34, 35, 36, they're actually all right. But I don't think I'll be picking him either.
Yeah, fair. Dean, my one takeaway from your team is, and obviously you'll replace Kluivert, is you can't have triple Palace, which I understand. Glasner's the right call, and I think Mateta and Munoz are the two I'd go with. But you can get triple Newcastle, even if it's instead of Mazraoui, Livramento, or instead of Areola, Pope, or Kluivert, Murphy. I would get the triple Newcastle in place, just because it's Leicester then a double game week. And then you've got loads of doubles for 33 anyway.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah.
Who do you like? Anthony Gordon's not available this week, but could be for Leicester.
I like Murphy, I think. It's a bit different.
Yeah,
well, it sounds different. It sounds like loads of people are picking him now, but I've been looking at Murphy.
No, I don't think they are, to be fair.
Do you not?
I think a lot of talking about him as a good pick, but I'm not seeing him in any teams. I think he'd be in my wildcard team. In fact, he was in my wildcard draft that I made last week.
Yeah, Nikolai just given another shout of Connor Bradley. We've had quite a few comments in today of people suggesting Connor Bradley. I haven't got any Liverpool defenders. Haven't even considered it. The next 3 games: Everton, Fulham, West Ham. Obviously, it could be a bit of an oversight. Is Connor Bradley starting this week? Has there been any have you seen any
trained,
clarification?
Only for a couple of days. He is definitely not a banker to start.
Yeah,
maybe by 31 he looks good, but not 30.
But for a wild card, would you bring in Connor Bradley? That's still not a bad shout.
We haven't had a Trent update either, though. We just don't know with Trent. Like, at least with Haaland, Pep's come out and said 7 weeks. Like, we don't know about Trent and that injury.
Trent's going to be scared of the crowd now, mate. He's just going to play that up for a little while until everyone forgets that he's leaving.
True, yeah. Timber is nailed crown. Yeah, he's first choice right back anyway. Like, Ben White could come in and get a game, but I fancy Timber if you want to save money on a Gabriel and Saliba. Okay, guys, that's Dean's wildcard. I like it. Get your comments in.
Do you know what? I just got this real feeling like I'm going to panic before deadline and do something really silly here. Like I'm just going to... Don't know, like you just throwing things about the Newcastles and stuff like that. It's like, oh yeah, maybe
Arsenal cover. I tell you what, that front line's not getting touched.
Cover.
Isak, Marmoush, Mateta is the most obvious wildcard front three ever.
I mean, yeah, that's easy. That's an easy pick.
The easy bit, yeah.
It's I'm worried about my midfield. But yeah,
shots fired at me.
Sorry, big man. Sorry, Mateta. I think you might end up going back to Mateta. You're the only wildcard I've seen without Mateta. And I've seen a lot of drafts on Twitter and stuff. Yeah, this is my team. I want your thoughts on this in the chat and you two. I've made a transfer. It was Marmoush in for Cunha. Yes, I still had Cunha. I still had Cunha, Trent, and Rico Lewis. God, and Mikalenko. I don't expect Trent to start, obviously. I've just put him in there. Just a miracle. I don't expect Rico Lewis to start. And there's always the fear with Rico Lewis. He can come off the bench. So I kind of need Mikalenko to play. Again, we don't have an update, I don't think, on Mikalenko. I think he'll be all right. But where are you at? Big man, would you be taking a hit knowing Rico Lewis, Mikalenko and Trent? I could just go straight, take a 4-point hit for Gabriel. I'd want an Arsenal defender in the next couple of weeks anyway. Do I risk it with Mikalenko or Lewis and bring in Gabriel next week? Or do I go Gabriel now for -4?
It's a very tricky one. It's a real tricky one, actually, because it is 100% going to be a transfer you'd want next week. So even if you sort of... It depends on your wildcard strategy, by the way. Remind me about your wildcard strategy, because if you're wildcarding, let's say, later after like game week 34, 35, then you want Gabriel for game week 33, right? So if you're taking that hit eventually in either game week 31 or 32, you might as well do it right now. I don't mind taking that hit, even though generally I hate taking hits, but I would struggle to see how that hit doesn't work out over the next 4 to 5 weeks.
Yeah, Arsenal in that double in 33. I'm going to need an Arsenal defender, clearly. And yeah, Gabriel feels so obvious to me. I've not owned Gabriel since game week 20 when I sold him for Manoz. I think it was 20. There we go. Dean, thoughts on this team? I've got double Chelsea attack.
Double Chelsea attack. It's because you've got Tottenham. You fancy it, don't you?
And then Ipswich in a couple of weeks as well.
Yeah, look, I prefer your midfield at the moment to mine, and you haven't wildcarded. So I think this team, like considering you haven't had to wildcard, I think you're in pretty good shape, to be honest. Like I think you compete with most people that are wildcarding here, and obviously you've got differentials in Enzo. I was going to say Palmer, but a lot of people have stuck by him by the looks of things. So yeah, I think you're in good shape, mate. And yeah, I'm just bit worried now about this Palmer call that I haven't gone for, but you two have. But I will deal with that as the day wears on. How many hours have we got left until the deadline, guys? Like 2.5 or something?
Oh, I'm so confused. I tell you what, being in different time zones.
3 hours 15 minutes.
3 hours 15 minutes for deadline. There you go, people. 3 hours.
I'm only an hour ahead in Italy, and it's completely thrown me for deadlines and times of streams and stuff. Yeah. Like only an hour as well. Like, the deadline's at 7:15 tonight. I was like, what? What even is that? Guys, we will have a look at the Game Week 30 fixtures, and we're also going to give away 5 channel memberships, so do not go anywhere. We want to celebrate having 850 of you in the chat. I think I might take a hit for Gabriel. I'm not sure. I could even take a hit for Raya and get rid of Pickford. I don't know, and play Mikalenko. Yeah, fixtures. I think here, good to see them all. Like Arsenal are the most likely for a clean sheet. City are the most likely for the most amount of goals. Any sort of fixtures we're neglecting here, big man, that we think we could target, but you're not seeing enough of?
Not really, because when you look at the Game Week 30 team, it looks identical to what a free hit team for Game Week 30 would look like. Because when you look at the likes of Palace, for example, or City, these teams are not only likely to double in 33. I mean, City have Leicester at home this week. Palace have Southampton at home, Southampton away this week. So all these teams are expected to do well anyway. So I think these teams will do well. Apart from that, I mean, Bournemouth versus Ipswich looks like a good fixture on paper, but I do actually feel as if Ipswich will give Bournemouth a good game because Bournemouth, I think they'll be a bit deflated after the cup loss, and I think Ipswich having had a substantial amount of rest, I think Ipswich could give them a good game. Apart from that, Newcastle Brentford should be full of goals. Brighton Villa likewise, and yeah, Chelsea Spurs is sort of a difficult one to predict, but I'd expect goals over there as well. I actually think some of the games tonight will be low scoring, something like Wolves versus West Ham, Nottingham Forest versus Man United. I don't see too many goals in those fixtures. Arsenal Fulham I think it's probably the trickiest fixture to call. So I don't know, maybe something like a 2-1 Arsenal win.
Guys, we're going to give away 5 channel memberships. All you got to do is spam the chat, and in the next 2 minutes or 1 minute, 5 of you will win. Shout out Ryan, who's already gifted 5. So to win a membership, like, subscribe, and put a comment in the chat, and it goes to 5 of you randomly. Whilst you're doing that, Dean, we need your opinion on Arsenal Fulham. Big Man said it could be tight. So many are on double Arsenal defence. Some are on triple Arsenal defence. Raul Jimenez starts because he didn't in the FA Cup. He's just smashed it in the international break. He's scoring tonight, isn't he?
Honestly, I hope so. Yeah, I mean, surely Raul starts tonight. I was very surprised that Muniz got the nod in the FA Cup. Didn't necessarily do anything wrong. I just felt like you got to play into these moments when you got such an in-form, confident striker. So unless there was a problem with Jimenez, I didn't see that it made sense not to just start him in such a big game for Fulham. So yeah, it's probably going to be a narrow Arsenal win tonight. I would imagine that's what I'm expecting. But yeah, one question, by the way, guys, that kept cropping up for a few people was about Dango for Bournemouth. Like now, Kluivert's not out. Few people have kept hold of Dango, and they want to know, like, is there any potential he actually plays tonight?
Don't do it, guys. If you've got him, don't sell him. He could start for Kluivert, but there's multiple options now in that Bournemouth front line. Like, could Brooks get a start tonight or whenever the fixture is tomorrow?
Yeah.
Absolutely could. Like, he's not nailed to come in, Dango. Guys, remember, to win a membership, like, subscribe, comment in the chat. In the next 30 seconds, someone or 5 of you will get it. Shout out to, I think it was Paul, who just gifted one as well. Big Man, Dango, and your thoughts there?
Yeah, I think it's just too much of a risk at this point in time. And yeah, I just, you can hope and pray, but if you're feeling the likes of Dango on your team, you might as well wildcard, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Guys, thank you for all your comments in the chat. I'm loving the spam. We don't mind the spam for 60 seconds. We'll hit that button in the next couple of minutes. FPL Greece represented. Good to see you guys in the chat. You've got your own fest coming up this week, which is loads of exciting, really exciting for you. I can't get my words out. Trying to keep up with the chat. There we go. 5 of you have won it. Shout out to all 5. Nick's one of them. It's moving too fast for me to read the others. Savio as well. Geddy's one. Oh, good to see Geddy and Danny, 2 of our regulars. We're going to do this all again. We're going to do this all again, I guess, on Friday, because we've got another deadline on Saturday. Yeah. So do not go anywhere, guys, because Chasing Green Arrows will be back. So make sure when you subscribe, you hit the notification bell. We usually stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Dean's a journo, and he's good at FPL. Big Man's former world number 4 and awesome at FPL. And I'm the host, so come back for more.
You're all right at FPL as well, mate. Don't worry.
I'm 3rd in our mini league, so I'll just leave it there.
For now, mate, you're catching up. You're nearly there.
Yeah. Maybe after tonight, I'll be known more as an ITK.
It's true.
Who knows? So there we go, guys. Thank you for watching. I might do a deadline stream in the next half an hour or even at 6 o'clock on my channel. I'm not sure. I need to check with the wife. So I might see you on my channel later. But if not, Chasing Green Arrows on Friday. If you're just tuning in, go back and watch the last hour. It's been an awesome show. See you later. Bye-bye.